Show with so many wonderful little technical difficulties. As I was saying, shout out to my horrified future self watching this on YouTube. And just to get out of the way, in case you're wondering about the tall girl with lovely baritone, I am transgender. You may know me from my work destroying the moral fabric of society. You're welcome. But I'm here to talk about relationships. Specifically, I want to talk about what we mean when we say we're in a relationship. And I want to share some ideas and concepts I've been working on for the past couple years that I've encountered that's made it a little bit easier for me to connect with human beings and might make it a little bit easier for you to connect with human beings too. Now, relationships. We talk about them all the time, right? Sometimes in the abstract. We say we have relationships. I have a healthy relationship with sleep. I have an unhealthy relationship with capitalism. A relationship is just a connection, right? But usually when we say we're in a relationship, we mean a romantic partnership. And I'm sure I don't need to tell all of you that society makes romantic relationships weird. Like, what are the rules? How do you go about them? There's a lot of expectations that are put on us sometimes that aren't always clear. I'll share some stuff from my own life. I did serial monogamy for a really long time. Poorly, unethically, codependently, it just wasn't good. I liken it to just jumping from sinking ship to sinking ship for years without my baggage. And then I made myself be single for a while, and it was really great. I got to learn, I got to grow. I really enjoyed the freedom and autonomy, but it got kind of lonely because you can only go on like 4 or 5 dates before you have to say, I'm sorry, I don't want to be exclusive, and then the relationship ends. And then I got highly entangled with a polyamorous person. I thought I'd finally figured it out. I can have a deep, comfy relationship and also have autonomy and see other people, but it blew up after a while because our polyamory styles were just not compatible, I discovered. And this kind of bummed me out because I had tried so many different types of relating to human beings, and each one had something I loved and something I just couldn't handle. I began to wonder if I was just broken and I wouldn't ever find a relating style that made me happy. What I realized that I needed to get off the relationship escalator. This is a concept that was popularized by the blogger Aggie Says. And this is intuitive. We know this. This is what relationships are. These are the unspoken agreements that society puts on us. You start off with, it's like an escalator. You're standing there, and without doing anything, you're moving away and up, and it's progressing, and it's progressing. It starts with a friendship or just saying hello, going on a date, and it ends with being buried next to each other. But what if we could break that apart? What if we could go from a relationship meal to what my friend Megan Sewell calls a relationship buffet? What if we can take all that and see them as individual components that we can use in our relationships just by negotiating agreements between each other? Each one of those things are things that you can have just by asking for them or asking to not have them. After I learned how to navigate relationships by asking for the things I wanted, I was able to be so much happier. Here we can see some labels. Like, these are labels that we might use, or the bottom one is a label that we might not necessarily use, but you can see how the things that we think of as relationships are just made up of these little component parts from the previous page. After I learned how to ask for the relationships I wanted, I was so much happier. I'm involved with people now who really understand me. They understand my needs, I understand their needs, because I understand my own needs. But we can keep going. Once we understand that we can create the relationships we want by asking for them, and each relationship is just made of component parts, we can keep going a bit further. There's this really a concept called relationship anarchy. It's popularized by the Swedish academic Andy Nordgren. And it basically says if relationships can be created, if we can have a label and apply different qualities to it, why do we need the labels at all? Why don't we consider every single connection we have as its own unique relationship? I think when you do that, you're able to let people show up for the people that they are. And you can show up as the person that you are and appreciate every connection for how unique it is, whether it's platonic, non-platonic, whatever it is. And I think that what's beautiful about this is we're raised with all these concepts of what romantic relationships are like. We have sort of an intuitive understanding. We talk a lot about romantic relationships. Media provides us these frameworks, so we kind of know what to bring to them. Instead of just bringing them to our partners, we can bring them to everyone we know. Vulnerability, commitment, communication, honesty, these are things that we know we should talk to, exist with our partners with, but they're not necessarily things we think that we could apply to our boss or our coworkers or our mothers or our best friends. I've adopted these paradigms, and it's made me a hell of a lot happier, and I think that if you start thinking a little more granularly about the kind of relationships you have, you might be a little happier too. Thank you.